Today, we shall be discussing what exactly eWitnessing is and the benefits of using eWitnessing to your organization. We will also be having a brief discussion with the Land Registry, whom we have worked with closely in developing their guidance on eWitnessing, as well as developing our own solution, who have very kindly agreed to take part in the webinar. We should then be demonstrating our solution in accordance to the HMLR guidance, and we'll leave time at the end for a Q&A. Firstly, could I please welcome Michael Abraham, the product manager from the Land Registry. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, James. Hi, everyone.
Could I also introduce Robin Malpass, the Deputy Director from the Land Registry. Good morning, Robin.
Good morning, James. Good to be with you all.
Good to have you here. And could I also introduce Samuel Rowe, who is Yoti's very own Legal and Policy Associate. Good morning, Sam.
Hi there, James. Good morning.
Good morning. And just to introduce myself, I'm the host today, so I'm James Lancaster and I'm the Sales Manager for Yoti. So let's kick off then. So what is e-witnessing? There are many types of documents that require witnessing, such as deeds, loan agreements, mortgage agreements, to name a few. But using an e-signature platform such as Yoti Sign now means that these documents can be signed securely and electronically. This removes the paper-based process of having documents signed and witnessed, but also increases security by introducing an audit trail into the process and reduces the amount of time spent in having these signed manually. Yoti is driven by security and providing real value for money. This is why we have built our platform with a limited view for witnesses signing the document, which means they only view the front cover and where the witness actually signs. Other well-known brands do not offer this functionality and allows the witness to view the full content of the document. I presented this solution to many law firms recently who have mentioned that having the witness see the content of the document is no good for them. Our next release will see the witness not being able to see the front cover of the document at all, or any aspect of the content of the document, only the place where they are required to sign the document to confirm that they were present and have witnessed the primary signer signing the document. We are HMLR compliant and have added in a one-time passcode that is sent via a text message to both the primary signer and the witness for added security. From a cost perspective and driving real value for money, as mentioned before, the time and effort that is reduced from using this solution is immense. I could post the documents for more than it costs for having them witnessed electronically via Yoti Sign. This is an extremely more convenient way of witnessing and signing a document with this cost-effective technology. There is also the ability to sign using a verified ID, which is digital identity-driven signing, enhancing the security even further with Yoti Sign and making this transaction and solution extremely secure and powerful. This means that there's the ability to prove the signer's and the witness's identity by linking attributes from a verified ID at the point of signing the document, such as their name, their address, their date of birth, and their nationality. Not only does this mitigate the risk of email phishing and hacking, but you have the confidence that the document has been signed by both the primary signer and the witness. We shall soon be adding in the functionality of geolocation for further proof that the witness was in the same location as the primary signer. That was a very brief overview of e-witnessing and also using a verified ID for enhanced security. So I would like to hand over to Sam Rowe, who I mentioned before is Yoti's Legal and Policy Associate, who will be asking these three key questions to the Land Registry. Thanks, Sam.
Cheers, James. So, Michael, I thought we could start off by perhaps having you talk about how you came to develop your guidance on e-signatures and e-witnessing.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Sam. So hopefully I can do this process justice in a few minutes because it was obviously drawn out over quite a long period of time. The key concepts were discovering and learning, collaborating with industry experts as well as experts within government and our customers, so conveyancing firms, and then iterating and developing that practice. We weren't developing a solution, we were enabling other solutions through practice. So it was important to understand what solutions were available that conveyancers were using already, as well as undertaking sort of an in-depth market assessment of what solutions were available. So liaising with a number of different market providers to understand how their solutions operated and what they offered their customers. Ultimately, what he wanted to ensure from this sort of insight was that we could draft practice that enabled the use of signatures that was practical, so it could be used within an everyday environment, and was meeting the needs of quite a what is a difficult time at the moment. Economical, so it could be readily used, but also legal, important, and secure as well. This is people's property. There's an awful lot of investment in there, so we want to make sure that that the security is done correctly. So it's probably worth Robin talking a bit more about the legal side, which I'm sure he'll do in a minute. But that process is still ongoing. We're still discovering, we're still learning, and we're still iterating that practice as we move forward. But yes, ultimately it was about getting that discovery, that learning, and then collaborating and then iterating.
Fantastic. Thanks, Michael. Well, I think that's a wonderful segue into my second question, which is, now you've got this brilliant e-signature and e-witnessing guidance, what can firms use it from? Robin, maybe that's better addressed to you.
Well, the thing is that the law has evolved over the last 10 years around electronic signing of documents. We've seen a number of cases where judges have been willing to accept that the signature that's been applied to a document electronically is a valid signature. And that was endorsed by the Law Commission in 2019, when the Law Commission considered in detail electronic signing and the law around it. But I think for practical purposes and for people who are going to use Yoti's e-signing platform to electronically sign, the important point to stress is that the law is essentially the same. If an individual is signing a deed and a witness is required to sign with them, which in the case of an individual as opposed to a corporation they are, then the witness needs to be physically present when the signer signs. And then our advice is that the witness should then also add their electronic signature and details as soon as possible thereafter. So you could have a situation where you ask your neighbour to come in to witness you e-signing a document, they witness you e-signing it, and then they go next door, log on to their computer, they get the email from Yoti, and then they log on and add their signature and personal details. That's fine. But the key thing here is that it's all done as contemporaneously as possible. And we believe with using signature signing platforms like Yoti, that actually this can all be done very easily and completely legally compliant. Mike, is there anything you wanted to add to what I've said there?
No, that's fantastic. Thanks, Robin.
Great.
Great, thanks both of you. And just so it's clear in my mind, does that mean that I could use e-witnessing for example, deeds like in the home buying process?
Absolutely. So the practice that we introduced last July initially, and it's been modified since, in practice, Land Registry Practice Guide 8, Execution of Deeds, Section 13, it actually explains, and for people who look at it for the first time, you'll see it's actually quite concise. It actually explains that there are, in truth now, no real limitations on when you can use an electronic signature with witnessing to complete a land registration deed or document. So the Yoti signing platform could be used to sign any deed that comes into the land registry.
Wonderful, thanks very much. That is very useful for clarifying for me, and I'm sure some of the attendees what e-witnessing could be used for nowadays. Perhaps then I'll move on to my last question. I just wanted to ask perhaps both of you what you envisage being down the line in terms of developments for e-witnessing, given that you've now, of course, got both Practice Guide 8 and perhaps even thinking about Practice Guide 81.
Yeah, so I'll start and then I'll hand over to Robin, if that's okay, Sam. So I think we're always looking to, as we've demonstrated already, always looking to develop the practice Guide 8, Section 13 of witnessed electronic signatures as technology develops, as security methods develop, as scope changes. So that's something we're absolutely going to be continuing to do. I think our focus at the moment is currently on assessing the feasibility of qualified electronic signatures. So for those that don't know what a qualified electronic signature is, essentially this is a higher form of digital signature which operates within the regulation, and therefore can give you a higher level of assurance and security. And we're now considering whether that can operate within Section 91 of the Land Registration Act, and therefore it could remove the need for a witness because of the additional level of security. So I think that's sort of where our focus is at the moment, but absolutely we'll continue to monitor and develop the witnessing practice as well. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add to that, Robin.
Yeah, Sam, if I can just add very briefly to what Mike has said there. I see witnessed electronic signatures being around for a very long time. We've said publicly we're very interested in qualified electronic signatures, and we're keen to run a pilot as soon as we can. But I do think that the witnessed electronic signature, it's there, it's out there, people can use it today. And we're also now looking at other practice changes to allow for the use of electronic signatures for documents that aren't deeds as well. And indeed, we're about to make some changes to practice that will also allow for the YOTI signing platform to be used for signing other legal documents that are presented to the Land Registry as well. So it's a pretty exciting time, Sam, and we're delighted that you've made the changes that you've had to your offering so that people can now easily use it.
Wonderful. Well, Michael, Robin, that has been fantastic and extremely insightful. Thank you very much. I should probably say that if any of the participants have any questions, we have got the Q&A function if people want to put questions in there, and we'll address them at the end of this session. But for now, I'll just say again, thank you very much, both Michael and Robin from the Land Registry. And James, perhaps I can hand back to you for a demo.
No problem. Looking forward to the demo.
Yeah, thank you, Sam, Michael, and Robin. Okay, so we're going to go to the live demo now. So what I'm going to be doing here, I'm going to play in 3 roles here. So I'm going to play the sender. So I'll be uploading a document for signing for the primary signer. I will then take the role of the primary signer. So I'll populate the document. I will at that point nominate a witness. I will then play the role of the witness to access and sign the document to say that I've witnessed the primary signer. So let me just get out of my screen and go into my platform. Okay, so this is our platform. We have an open API, but I'm showing the web version today. We've got everything that you would expect from a decent e-signing platform, from organizations, templates, etc. So what I'm going to do is create a document for sending. So I'm going to upload a document, and this is going to be a TR1 form. Give that a second to upload there. I'm then going to put the name of the primary signer. So in which case, this is going to be myself. This is a demo platform that I'm showing you. So just going to put in the role as primary for clarification. So I'm going to add a primary signer to the role here. So what I'm going to do now is assign add a witness. Now we do have the function here, as I mentioned before, to turn the authentication on. I'm not going to do it within this demo, but we do have the ability to sign with a verified identity, which is YOTI's core product for the added security. What I'm going to do here is add a witness. Now at this point, I don't know who the witness is going to be because I'm the sender of the document. It's going to be nominated by the primary signer, which is James Lancaster. So for added security, we're going to put a telephone number in to send the one-time passcode. So I'm just looking at my telephone number there. Right. Then go to next. We're now presented with the TR1 form. This is a 4-page document. So what I'm going to do here is start building the document up for completion. So what I can do here is add a text box for James to input some data. Can put some data in there for the property details. We've got an automatic date timestamp, so that's automatically populated. As I go down, I'm building the form up so I can start adding some checkboxes. You know, someone's going to ask a question, do you have templates? And just to reiterate, we do have templates, so you don't have to keep doing this again. And as I go down, further down, I can see where the primary signer is due to sign as well as the witness. So with the primary signer, I will request that James inputs his signature there, as well as inputting the name there. And at this point, I will then assign the witness the details to enter their details here, as well as a signature for the witness. I then select next. To make sure I'm happy with the document, I can preview the document to make sure everything's lined up. I can rename the envelope for the sake of this demo. I'll call it eWitnessing tests. I can put a little message to the person that's signing the document. And I can also set reminders, so I don't have to keep chasing them. And that's it. So you can see that it's been designed as a very, very simple flow for the sender of the document. So what I will do now is just drop into my emails. If I refresh this, I can see that that's come through. So I open up as the primary signer now. If I read the context that's associated to the email, this document sender has requested a witness for your signature. It is a legal requirement that the witness sees you applying your digital signature. So please make sure your witness is present when you sign this document. So the primary signer opens up the link to see the document. This document requires a one-time password. For security purposes, we will send a one-time password to your mobile number shortly. Please continue. So when I select continue, that then triggers a one-time passcode being sent to my mobile device. And you can see that that's come through straight away. So I entered the verification code, which was 990-505. I click continue. So this now gives me access to access a document. So it states on the screen, your signature requires a witness. A witness is someone that can verify in person that you have signed this document digitally. You can choose anyone who is over 18 and of sound mind, are not another signer of the document, and don't have any commercial or financial interest in this document. So I, as the primary signer, agree and continue with that statement. I accept and continue the terms of Yoti sign. What I can do now is start populating the fields that are requested. So I'll just put some dummy information in here. You can see that the date has automatically been populated. I can go down and start selecting the check boxes. And as we go further down, it's asking me my name in. It's asking me to click to sign. So I click to sign. So that is the primary signer completing the document. I go to submit the document, but what it now asks is to add the witness's details. So I input details of the address of the witness. I am using a demo platform for this. I then input the telephone number of the witness. And I then put the name of the person that is witnessing the document. I then add them to the witness, and that's been completed. So the witness would have been sat next to me. I've signed as the primary signer, and now this document is going over to the witness. I'll go back into my emails again and click refresh. I can see that that has come through. So the witness receives the email. Got some information for the witness. You have been assigned as a witness for this document. It is a legal requirement that you have seen the signer applying their digital signature. So please make sure you were present when they signed the document. So as a witness accesses the link, we go through that process again, where it requires another one-time passcode. So that confirmation code has come through to the witness. Click continue. And it states on the screen, this document requires a witness. A witness is someone that can verify in person that the primary signer, James Lancaster, signed this document digitally. So it then asks to confirm that you're over 18 and of sound mind, and not another signer of the document, and don't have any commercial or financial interest. And it asks for confirmation that the witness confirms that they were physically present when the document was signed. Unless they select that and they confirm they were physically present, they can't move forward to the next step. So we agree and continue. You accept and continue the terms of Yoti sign. Now, remember what I said before about the limited view for the document for the witness. So what we've got here is page 1 of 4. So this is the cover sheet. What it does now, it jumps straight to page 4 out of 4. So the witness doesn't see the content of the document. So what we can do here is input the name of the witness. So in this case, I'm John Matthews as the witness. I then go to sign it and I submit the document. That transaction's now been complete from the sender to the primary signer to the witness. Now, if I jump back in to my portal and refresh the screen, I can see the eWitnessing test has been complete. I can drill down into that transaction So I can see who signed and who hadn't signed if it wasn't completed. And we've got some analytics that sit behind now, because you could have 5 primary signers and 5 witnesses. So you can see who signed and who hadn't signed. For security, we can view the history of the transaction that's been completed. And this is also replicated within the signing receipt, which I'm going to show you. But you can see here when the document was created and sent, when the one-time passcode was requested, when it was submitted, when the witness was added with their email address. We've got the IP address in there as well. What you can do is download the information from within the portal. Now, with e-signing platforms, the sender of the documents gets a copy in their inbox and the signee gets a copy in their inbox. But it's important to add, with this transaction, the witness does not receive any information or confirmation that they've signed the document. They don't get a copy of the document. They don't receive anything. The primary signer will receive a copy of the documents, but what they will receive is the document that's been signed. They will also receive a text file, which is to hash output the transaction that's taken place. So we use cryptographic signatures and certificates that sit behind that. So that's your proof. But what the primary signer will receive is a copy of the signing receipt. Like I say, if there were 5 primary signers, on the signing receipt, they would only see their information and their witness. So they wouldn't be able to see any other primary signer's details or the witness's details. However, the sender of the document will receive information from the primary signers. So that if there was 5, all primary signers and all 5 witnesses. So it's gated, so it's locked down to see only what you should see. So within here, you've got information regarding the envelope name. So I called it eWitnessing test. One-time passcode required. Yes, it was. We've got information that relates back to the documents, 4-page document with unique document ID. Then you've got the signee information of the primary signer, the information regarding that as well, with the email address and the witness's name and their details as well. But you've got a full audit trail of the process that's actually taken place, when it was sent, when the OTP was requested via these telephone numbers on here. And as you go further down, you've got the flow from signing with the witness, the OTP, when it was submitted. And you've also got the IP addresses on there as well. I know there are some questions that have come in, but Sam, could you kindly look at the questions, please?
Yeah, of course, James. So we've had 2 really interesting and I think useful questions. The first question is, has there been a lender consultation? And if there has, what is their feedback concerning the signing of mortgage deeds?
Did you want me to take that one, Robin?
Please, Mike.
Yep, so that there has been lender feedback. We had a session with UK Finance recently, and generally I think lenders are supportive of anything that can enable digital transformation and make the journey better for their customers. But absolutely, that has to be done in the right way. So yeah, I think generally lenders are supportive of the direction, and we're working with them to help them enable the practice for the signing of things like remortgage deeds.
Thanks, Michael. And James's second question was, what does the land registry need to be sent? Is it the completed TR1 and the digital signature file, or just the TR1 form?
Shall I take that one, Mike?
Yeah, go for it, Robin.
So it's a really good question. Thank you. We thought long and hard about this, and we concluded that the land registry only needs the transfer, and we're recommending to law firms that they retain the completion statement audit report as part of the conveyancing file. We don't want the audit report. We would be very concerned to hold it because it contains, as James demonstrated there, it contains sensitive personal data that could be viewed by third parties, and we don't want that. We think that, and this is why we looked at the conveyancer certificate. So one of the requirements is that a conveyancer provides a certificate to the land registry that, to the best of their knowledge and belief, the requirements for witnessed electronic signatures in the practice guide have been followed. And that was, we felt, preferable to asking for detailed audit reports. So only the transfer, not the audit report.
Thanks very much, Robin and Mike. That's really useful. We've also got a question from Julie Dawson, who asks just whether we could confirm if today people have to still be in the same location, and that's I suppose the signee and the witness, I mean, I'm certainly happy to answer that. And then Robin, maybe you can give a gloss if you like. So my understanding is that all of the documents which the Land Registry is concerned with, in that instance, because the document has to be signed with certain formalities being met, the signer and the witness have to be physically located in the same place. So they have to be in the presence of one another, or the witness has to be in the presence of the signee. But of course, there are a number of documents that don't require any formality. So like a basic contract, for example, doesn't require any formality. And therefore, eWitnessing could be used in a remote way, potentially. Of course, it depends on how the eWitnessing platform works and what sort of probative value you'd get from that eWitnessing platform. But certainly from Yoti's perspective, we would suggest that if you'd like to use a basic contract and have it witnessed just for that extra probative value, you can do that remotely. Robin, I'm not sure if you wanted to add anything.
I think that's right. It's important. It's a good question again. Again, it's something else we thought long and hard about, and we did take leading counsel's advice on this point, because as you can imagine, going into lockdown, people were asking, how can I get my deed witnessed when people are isolating or in lockdown situations? But the law is clear. For a deed in England and Wales to be a valid deed, and where a witness is required, the witness must be physically present when the signer signs. That's not a land registry requirement, that's a requirement under the general law. But you're right, it's all about the legal formalities that need to be followed. So in the case of a contract, the same legal formalities don't apply, and I'm sure what you said is absolutely right.
Wonderful, thanks, Robin. Kevin asks, are there any anticipated issues with the self-certification by the witness that he or she is of sound mind? That's a very interesting question.
So it's not something that we ask for, but it's an interesting question. Clearly, there is a responsibility to make sure, if you're acting for a party, that the party who signs it does so lawfully, and clearly someone who wasn't of sound mind would not have the capacity to witness. So it should, I think, be a box that is a formality tick box.
Wonderful, thank you, Robin.
Okay, any more questions there, Sam?
None. So James, I'll hand back to you.
Thank you. Okay, just like to reiterate that you know, we are a fantastic e-signing platform. We've got a fantastic e-witnessing solution. We are offering free trials to this. So my name and my email address is on the screen at the moment. So if you have any further questions or you're interested about taking up a free trial, then please let me know. Sam, Michael, Robin, thank you very much for your time today. I think it's been very beneficial having you on the call and very insightful. So thank you again. If there's nothing else to add, then we'll close the webinar, and thank you very much for everyone for joining. Thank you.